It's the 8 for 52 podcast. Here's Buschy.
Episode 5 is a go of the Season 2 of the 8 for 52 podcast. Buschy with you as always. Welcome to co-hosting duties. This week is KCC Templars captain and KCC Premier player and former My Story guest in Season 1. It's the Namibian Nightmare himself, Jason J. Davidson. Oh, you got an extra long one there, Jay.
Hello, everyone. Thank you for having me, Buschy. I just want to correct you there quickly. So you'll have another apology next week. It's the KCC Premier Vice Captain.
Oh, you're taking offence that I just said player?
Correct.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I'm apologising now because I'm not doing it again next week. There's already a laundry list coming up in the new segment of Aaron's apologies. But first, I've got some hot gossip straight off the bat.
Let's hear
Hong
it.
Kong Sixers.
Yes.
Right. So at the moment,
Namibia's in.
no,
Okay.
no, but no, that's not my rumour. But there's 6 ICC teams in already confirmed. We'll run through them shortly. And 3, I think all the associate nations have now filled up because there's going to be 4 of them. And there's Nepal, Oman, and, refreshing my memory, UAE.
Oman
Plus Hong Kong.
Just been announced, correct?
Yes.
Recently?
But I've got another one.
Ooh.
I hear that one of the 2 remaining slots for the ICC teams, it's going to be India.
Massive.
Massive. Could you imagine? Is this going to be
Massive.
full? If
Yes.
India say yes, and we're recording on a Wednesday, that information might actually go out on Friday, but I have heard on the grapevine. This is just rumours.
Who's your grapevine?
I cannot reveal my
Right.
sources, sir, but I have heard.
Magician can never reveal his tricks.
Yeah, well, especially if I'm wrong and I have to apologise in next week's podcast. Speaking of which, Jay, it's time for Aaron Apologises. I really need a sting for that
There we
now,
go.
don't I? In last week's podcast, guest host Adi Lee was reading through the list of Gap Ramba players. He named Arya Pandwani. I, paying no attention and looking through the podcast run sheet at the time, thought he said Aryan Tandramani, so I blurted out the Iceman. Now, sorry, Arya, there is only one Iceman, and that is Aryan. Maybe we'll get a nickname for Arya sometime this season. Now, apology number 2, Jay, is from the women's cricket wrap last week, where I said Yasmin Daswani was not in town and would not play, and that affected Tammy's tips. We'll talk about that with Tammy later on in the show. But as I went to Friday Masters League trading on the Saturday afternoon, I look out in the middle, and who's keeping for the Saracens but one Yasmin Daswani?
Yep. I also need to apologise to Yasmin Daswani because I wished her happy birthday on Sunday
Yeah.
as a result of a latagram.
Yes.
Turns out her birthday was a while ago.
Yeah, it was. It was in the birthdays. I let you go.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Yeah.
So, yeah, lots of apologies because she turned up for the maidens the next day, and we'll get into that with Tammy in the wrap, and it was very, very good. Now, IG, when you want to come along and tell me that I'm wrong and apologise and make me apologise next week, the Instagram is live. It is number 8, FOR 52 podcast, all one word, 8 for 52 podcast, and it's also on X Twitter at the 852 numbers podcast. Plenty to get through on this week's podcast, Jay. You know the rules. Guest host has to find the My Story guest. Who do you have?
So I've got a bit rogue here. We've had a lot of the
I would expect nothing less.
current and past players of Hong Kong, so I've decided I'm going to spice it up and get one of the young guns in Shiv Mathur.
Wow, you're bringing
Yeah.
Shiv in.
Massive scoop, I hear.
It is.
Yeah.
Well, now under 19s Hong Kong China men's captain.
Captain, yep.
Yep. And, superstar in the making, if not already. He's going to join us. Well, that's going to be huge. Of course, Tammy Chu, we were just talking about it. We'll be back with the women's cricket wrap. Nitesh will drop in for the Challenge League updates. We'll do some birthdays as well. And there's a massive Sky Plaza Road this week. But
We've had a couple of dropouts, haven't we?
we've lost a few guests,
Yeah.
Jay.
Yeah.
But that's all right. I reckon you and I can handle this.
Fair enough.
I've got some good information. I've got the upcoming tour for the Hong Kong China men's team, and there's also another tour going on. We're going to talk about that in Sky Plaza Road.
Awesome.
Should we get on with the show?
Yeah, let's do it.
Giddy up.
And now it's time for outs and ins with all last week's action in Hong Kong. Take us away, Buschy.
All right, time for outs and ins. As each week we have a tip and see the guest or my tips. At the moment, the tally is 5 for guests and 5 for Aaron. We'll go through the games. Let's start at Saturday, Div 1. The big game up the hill, the Crusaders versus the Gap Ramblers. Jay.
Yeah, so I actually went up the hill to watch the Mighty Crusaders play against Gap Ramblers. Rain affected at the beginning, reduced to 30 overs.
Yeah, can I touch on that for a second?
Yeah.
Because the game was delayed 26 minutes and the game lost 10 overs.
Well, I mean, I was gonna get at the end. The DLS calculation seemed a bit off as well.
It kept changing as well on the screen while I was watching it.
But I think that's the nature of Saturday cricket because there aren't any like official umpires.
Yeah.
I.e., there's the scorers and then the club umpires.
But by calculations, it should have been a 33 per team over game or 32. Sorry, we did the calculations here while we're on broadcast. Anyway, it went down to the wire.
Yep.
Well, who won?
The HKCC Gap Ramblers won that.
That's disappointing. What did they win on DLS by? What's that say? I can't read it on the screen.
It says here.
They're 17, 13. I should put my glasses on. Anyway, I can tell you that 80 picked the Gap Ramblers, of course, because he was playing, and I did not, so I lost the tip there. I was by 75 or something on the screen. Next game, Lama versus Jin Sung. While this game, just before this game started, I got a video from the Jin Sung boys of the water spout that was tearing around in Victoria Harbour on Saturday. They were watching it from Mission Road.
Oh, from the ground. Yeah, I saw that a video circulating. I also have a big scoop on the Jin Sung game. So
Yeah.
Up at the hill, I was watching the Crusaders and Gap Ramblers play at the same time as Jin Sung, and I was watching that game with none other than Tom Ingram. So questions need to be asked around his availability for the Jin Sung team.
He was the one that WhatsApped me and said he wasn't in town. He wasn't playing this weekend.
I know. Now I've called him out on the podcast, so I'm sure he's going to have a go.
Oh, we're going to get another Todd Lindgren
Yep.
WhatsApp or a DM to the podcast IG. Anyway, I picked Lama. Addy picked Lama. Lama won by 6 wickets, it looks like. Got there pretty easy in the end.
Justin Heathcote, again, hammering runs. He just seems to score runs on Saturday for fun, doesn't he?
Yeah, and he's just gone massive, the captain for Lama. So they get a win there. Also in Saturday Championship Div 1. Oh, no, I've got the table.
Yep.
I was going to read through the table, but then I've realised all the tables are completely balked.
Okay.
Still, you don't know how many games anyone's played. That one looks as close as to being right as any, with having Lama on top with 2 wins. But further on, we can't do it. At the moment, in Div 1, which we'll get to later, the Tony Turners, who've played 2 games, are on top with 8 points because they've won 4 games. Because they score 2 scores on Cricket Heroes. Both go into the system.
Right.
So they get double of everything.
Okay.
Anyway, let's move on to Div 2. Here at KCC, while I was doing my training, when Yasmin Dazwani was playing, the DLSW Thunder versus the Saracens. And another one for the Saracens going down there.
Yeah, who did you pip there, Buschy?
I did pick the Thunder.
Pick the Thunder, okay. I've given up on the Saracens?
Yeah, they've been in the never ever been for quite some time, along with Jin Sung, but that's just personal.
All right, maybe I have to back Mally and the boys this week.
Well, we'll see how we go. They've got to get a win eventually. Yeah. Kaitak versus Centaurs at GDB on at the same time. They got rained as well, it looks like. Decent score from Kaitak to start with, 172. Well, it's not that big at GDB in 35, is it? But rained out, and on DLS, Kaitak got the win.
Yep. Can you pronounce the winning or the top run scorer?
I'm just going to pull it up on my big screen here. JP Duplessis.
No,
Please.
So, is Duplessis.
Duplessis.
And a good way to pronounce that is 2 plus 3. JP 2 plus 3.
JP Duplessis. Well, he got 59 top scored, so well done to him. Let's go back to the script and see what else happened. Saturday Championship Div 2. Again, I can't trust the table, but Pack Championship at the moment, they're going well. We're going to get onto that as well very shortly about Pack. On Sunday, Div 1, September 29, we had the USRC Vagabonds, who have just had a horrid trot up the hill, now going to Ting Kwong Road, against the Diasqua Little Saiwan Tony Turners. This was a pretty interesting game, to be honest. Did you follow it along?
I was watching a little bit following a little bit on the Cricket Heroes app while we were playing. It turned out to be very close, didn't it?
Went down to the last ball, in fact, and a 4 being scored to get the Tony Turners another win. So the USRC Vagabonds.
How many did they need off the last ball, Buschy?
I think it was just one. I think the scores were tied, or maybe they needed two off the last ball.
And the boundary was hit,
The boundary came forward to end, and big win for the Tony Turners. Gets their first win. And they play again shortly. We're going to talk about the Wanderers versus Pack Elite up the hill. Wow, this was monstered. Pack Elite doing what Pack Elite does. 420, and they were all bowled out.
Yeah, unbelievable. Not even the full 50 overs. Crazy. Another double 100 in the Elite League One from Shiv Mathur.
Yeah, 210 off 117, including 11 fours and 21 sixes. That's a big day out. And then the poor Wanderers, they wilted all out for 105, so Pack Elite won by 315.
Yeah, huge win.
80 picked the Wanderers on that one, by the way, and I picked Pack.
Oh, there we go. So 80 is the reason we are 5-all.
And there we go to USRC Elite versus the KCC Templars. USRC home game here at KCC. You were playing, you were the captain.
Yeah, special innings from Baba Hayat.
That was ridiculous, wasn't it?
Some of the most entertaining batting I've watched in the last 15 overs of a game ever. Very, very aptly aided by whack-ass Barcott, who just came in and hit sixes from ball one.
It was something like a 174-run partnership off 59 deliveries.
Yeah, it was.
They were going at 17 and a half.
Absolutely childish.
And we'll just talk about Bubba's score, 223 not out. So he's now scored 46 and 223. So he's got 269 runs. Doesn't have an average.
Yeah.
And now he's going to go on tour.
Correct.
So he's going to stay with no average until he gets back.
Yeah.
144 balls, 14 fours, 17 sixes. The highlight for me of that innings was when he got to 100 balls. Did you need to see that? So he got to 100 balls. He didn't care that he'd already got the century. He was pointing at the board to say, look, I've been out here for 100 balls. It's not Bubba smashes everything. This is a 50-over innings, and it really was.
Yeah, well, a bit of a backstory behind that. So Dan Pascoe has made a bet with any member of the Templars team that if they can bat for 100 balls, he will buy them dinner.
Oh, there you go.
Yep. So that especially applies to him, Bubba, and Azaz. And so that was what Bubba was alluding to. We thought it was a scoreboard malfunction.
Yeah.
But he was just letting Dan pass.
Oh, I thought I run the scoreboard while I'm doing broadcast, so I was running around like my head was cut off. Also, the bowling, good effort from yourself there.
Yeah, not bad. Tough stint in the sun. Chris Carter on the other end of the wicket dying.
Yeah, he was heat stroked out by the end of the game
Big
because it went pretty
in
long.
the shift. But it was a good effort.
You got 4 for 48, and Farhad, the new recruit across from USRC, 4 for 39. So
yeah, really
nice,
nice addition to our team there.
We both picked Templars on that one. Then we had games on National Day, October 1st. We're going to start with Pack Elite versus Diaspora Little Saiwan Tony Turners. And what happened here? This was probably the biggest upset of the season. We're only 1 month in.
Yep, DLSW, Tony Turners, got 230 for 8 in their 50 overs, and then managed to bowl Pack Ass out for 142, which is a surprise result, I would imagine.
And, Yasim still got 41. I think Zishan got about a 40 as well, but the rest of the team just crumbled. So that was a massive win. There's a few things about this one. First, this is a Sunday Div 1 game.
Yes.
And they were playing on Astro.
Oh, no.
I mean, we really shouldn't be at the point where Sunday Div 1 games are being played on Astro.
Yeah. Yes and no. I guess it's a matter of trying to get the game on. And if I know that in the...
Someone took their roller.
Ah, right.
So they couldn't roll the pitch.
I see.
They've got a new roller now, so that should be fine going forward. We're going to get to it. I don't know if I want to bring it up now. I'll bring it up shortly. I'm going to bring it up. I'm going to skip ahead one of the games and go back to it. Saturday Div 2 at PKVR on October 1st as well. Punjab Lions versus Pack Championship.
Let me just get there. Yes.
Okay. Big win for PACC Championship. Two of the players in the Pack Championship team are the Pack Elite players. Why were they not at Ting Kwong Road Recreation Ground? Hafiz Khan, who can't stop scoring runs, was playing Saturday Div 2 instead of playing across in the Div 1 game, and Pack took it too easy. I got bowled out for 142.
Maybe that's a consequence of taking your opponents a bit lightly.
Yes, I think they've suffered from a bit of hubris here, Pack. So they've really wanted to get the win in Div 2 because they want to get Pack Championship back up into Saturday Div 1. I understand that.
Fair enough.
But you can't sacrifice your main Sunday Elite Div 1 team It's literally called Pack Elite.
Yeah.
And they end up losing. There was 2 players that switched across for that game, and it was costly.
Yeah, I guess each to their own. Yeah, very interesting. I did not know that.
Nah.
Yeah, that's a interesting call. Considering I think, Pack Elite on paper are probably one of the best teams in the league at the moment.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
But that loss with potential washouts could cause...
Well, that gives Tony Turners...
very costly.
Tony Turners hadn't played a game. Tony Turners are now 2 from 2 in 3 days, right?
Yep.
So they get the points. There's another Div 2 game we want to talk about. India Club Brahmas versus the Opties up at HKCC on National Day. Did you catch any of this one?
That I did not, unfortunately. I was up here at the pool with my wife watching the Robbie Lee Shield game.
Karoo. Yeah, that was on as well.
Which Sharoy would have been very happy about.
Well, you missed a masterclass from one Sahal Malvinkar, 129.
Yep.
And they've got a couple with the ball as well.
Yeah, I mean, he is... one also needs to question why he's in playing Sunday Div 1. I mean, Div 2. I mean, he's going to be up there.
They've got 2 teams in Div 1 now. I mean, surely Sahal's at the level that he should be up in Div 1, but that's up to HKCC.
And I have no doubt that he will be playing in their Premier League side.
No, for sure. And, of course, that India Club Brahmas team, that's the one packed with new recruits.
Yep.
Imi and Niaz. But they just couldn't find the wickets. They bowled out for 208, and Opties chased it down with 5.5 overs to go. 209 for 5 on the back of Malvinkar's century.
Yeah, so a relatively comfortable win there for the HKCC Optimists.
Right, at the end of that, there was one of the games we didn't tip because we forgot it was on. Guest is up to 10, and Buschy's up to 10 as well. So now it's your job as we go to the next section to see how well you can go. That's right, that's it for Outs and Ends. Coming up, Ins and Outs.
Ins and outs next. All the upcoming action in cricket in Hong Kong. Take us away, Buschy.
Yes, time for ins and outs, and we're going to start with Saturday Div 1. It's IRC Charlie Bears versus the India Club Yotters. I have not bothered to tell anybody on our script here, Jay, where they're playing, so I've no idea.
All right, fair enough.
Charlie Bears spent a lot of time out at GDB, so it could be there. We'll see. What do you reckon?
I'm going to pip the Charlie Bears here.
I will go Yotters because Charlie Bears were in my never ever been last year and waiting for them to prove me wrong.
I need to try and get the scoreboard up to guests.
I mean, I should not be anywhere near the guests' point. Botters would be laughing about how many points I've got right this year. HKCC Nomads versus the USRC Tigers.
Correct me if I'm wrong. The Nomads are their Sunday Div 1 side.
Yeah.
Div 2.
Div 1.
Div 1?
I've got it listed as Div 1. Don't confuse me.
Saturday or Sunday?
Saturday.
I'm going to pip the USRC Tigers.
Oh, we're going to really mix it up because I will go the Nomads in that one. Let's move to Saturday Div 2. The India Club All-Stars versus the KCC Saracens out in the middle of nowhere. Campton.
I'm pipping Mali and the boys along with Yaz Daswani, going with KCC Saracens.
I know Malha listens and he knows that I pick on the Saracens, but for some reason they go to Camp 10 and they get close. I saw a game, I didn't see it, I saw the team come back from a game last year which they managed to choke on like usual from Camp 10, but they got very close. So this will be the only time. You've got one chance, Saracens. I'm picking you this week.
Oh.
Don't let me down. Right. Diasqua Little Saiwan Strikers versus Laguna Gully at GDB, which means Charlie Bears aren't at GDB. They might be at Tinkwong Road or somewhere. I don't know much about this game, to be honest.
I'm going to go with the LSW Strikers.
This is where I need Botters to tell me how everybody did. Did Laguna Gully do good or bad last year? I think they did all right, to be honest. So you'll go with Strikers. I will, just to mix it up, go with the LG. And so we got lots of different tips this week. Let's go to Sunday Div 1, which I know a bit more about. The HKCC Scorpions, that's the one with Nazaka and Martin, correct?
No.
Yes.
No, this is
Scorps.
This is Scorps.
Oh, this is the old Scorps, yeah. So this
Kitchi,
isn't one show. Yeah, okay. This is the old Scorps minus Nazaka and Martin.
Ayush, I believe, is with the Scorps.
Okay, that's a pretty decent bowling lineup, but is he going to be here this weekend?
Are they available?
They're flying out very soon. Skyrailers Road coming up. We'll talk all about that. Okay, anyway, it's the Scorps versus USRC Elite. You got a good look at USRC Elite last week here at KCC. What's your tip?
I am never going to pip the HKCC boys, so I'm going to go with USRC Elite.
Okie dokie.
What's your pick?
I'm picking the Scorps.
Okay.
At home, up the hill. You're a madman. The Mad J. Diasco Little Saiwan Tony Turners, the undefeated. Have I got them at pack again? That can't be right. We're going to have to put an edit in here, and I've got to go have a look. Something's wrong there. Surely they can't be playing them again.
Maybe. It may be.
Could
the way
be.
the fixtures have turned out.
Well, I'll confirm that. Just you muse on what that's going to be. Do you think if it is true?
I'll go with momentum and go with the LSW Tony Turners.
I have a really good feeling that Pack isn't going to choke on it twice and leave half their team in the bloody Saturday Div 2. So,
but they might be away.
Well, they might be, but then the likes of Haseeb Mohammed will step up. He was in the team earlier. I think he was here for the KCC game as well. So they've got plenty of players in Pack Championship that can come up. I'm just going to confirm that one. What date are we looking at this weekend? The 6th? That sounds about right.
The 6th,
well,
yeah.
I've got Chinkwong Road Recreation Ground, Tony Turners versus Pack Elite. I don't know what they're playing on, though.
Right, I'm going with Tony Turners.
Right, what happens if it's on turf? Any changes?
No, but I'm now regretting my choice because if the national boys are not away or are away, then...
So if the national boys are away, Pack Elite's going to lose... the Turners lose Essam, but Pack's going to lose Yasim, Zishan, Nazrullah, possibly. I don't know the team list yet.
Right.
So, I mean, that's a big chunk of their batting and bowling lineup.
Okay, I'm sticking with the Tony Turners.
Stay with the Tony Turners. I find it hard to tip against Pack, even if they choked last week. So I'm expecting them not to choke twice. So, again, we'll go different. Sunday Div 2, the DLSW Knights versus the Dragons. The Disruptors. I do love my Dragons.
I'm going to go Dragons here.
Everyone loves the Dragons.
Yeah, I'm going to go Dragons.
Thanks to Rich's story, the Dragons. I think that's all our tips in. So plenty of games going on all around Hong Kong. You've got a weekend off, which is nice.
Yes, well, yes, I do. We do.
Yes, the Templars have the bye.
Week off, and then on the 13th we have another game where a lot of us are away. It's got school holidays, and the national boys are away, so it will likely be a mix of...
That'll be an interesting game.
Some infidels boys.
We'll be talking about that one in next week's podcast. I think our mate from Jinsung might be hosting next week.
Oh, nice.
He can get stuck into you if half the team's missing.
So the one with the availability issues?
He's available for the podcast, as far as I'm aware.
All right.
But we're doing this podcast. That's the end of Ins and Out this week.
Always denied entry by the English gentry. Now we're driving Bentleys, playing 2020.
Yes, time for the women's cricket wrap again, and not able to join us for the podcast in person, but on the phone it is, as always, Tammy Chu. Tammy, thanks for joining us.
Hey everyone, I'm Tammy.
Right, let's do the cricket wrap. The tip tally so far from our games, you're on 3, I'm on 4. Now, the games over the weekend. Let's start Sunday, September 29, the Maidens versus the SCC Divas. Now, firstly, I have to apologise because I told you that Yasmin Daswani wasn't in town, and that was an absolute lie, as this game went on to prove. So we both picked the Divas, and the KCC Maidens went mad and had a huge win.
Yes, exactly.
Yaz getting 20 not out, a forfeit for Rita Hyder, and bowling the Divas out for 47 and then chasing it down in 9.1, losing just 3 wickets. That was a big win there, the first game out at PKVR. The second game, it didn't happen in the end. The Serendip Lionesses had to forfeit that one, I believe.
Yeah, I think they didn't manage to put our team.
Okay, they were up against CC Fung Wong, which was going to be a tough game anyway. Now, let's get to the last game, shall we? The HKCC Willow Wilders versus the Diasqua Little Saiwan Wasps. You playing for the Willow Wilders, of course, picked them. I decided to be different and went for the Wasps. And, okay, now it's time for you to gloat. Go for it.
Yeah, so we said, no, wait, we bet first. And then, well, I would say they bowled quite well that day. And they restricting us to 109 with 5 wickets down. And then we go on to field. And I would say I'm lucky enough that from my first over, I got Shanxi out. And then in my second over, I got a hat trick.
Yes, that's what we want to get to. You got 4 for 13 off 4 overs, including a hat trick. Now, all I've learnt from this is never tip against Tammy Chu when she's playing. A massive wing for the Willow Wilders. Emma Lai getting a 30 as well, helping to get that score up. And you got a 4 for.
Yep.
That was a huge game and a big win for the Willow Wilders. So have a look at the table. As long as the table's correct here, I see that the Sunrisers are on top with 2 wins and a no result for 5 points. Lantau Ladies, 2 wins from their 2 games. The Wilders only got 1 win because they've had 2 washouts. The Maidens, with that big win after a devastating loss to start with, they've played 4 games, so they've won 1, and they're in 4th place. The Divas, with 3 games, have lost 1 and 2 washouts. CC Fung Wong have yet to play a game with a washout. The Wasps have played 4, lost 3 of them. And I really should have looked at this table before we picked last week's teams. The Wasps have lost 3, 1 washout, and down the bottom, the Lionesses yet to play a game. So the tip tally now is 5 and 5, and I think there's a bit of a break. There's a break now for the women's T20? I couldn't find any upcoming games. Couldn't find any upcoming games this weekend.
Updated it.
Oh, okay, there we go. Them being left behind. Do you have the details of what games are coming up this weekend? Because I've got nothing.
Let me try to check it out.
Yes.
Right.
I'm now
the 6th, right?
I'm now seeing some games in the system. They were not there when I put the podcast run sheet together. So it's I've got a 8:30 game. Is the Wasps versus the Lantau Ladies. Now we did have the tape just then. And the Lantau Ladies, 2 wins from their 2 games, and the Wasps yet to register a win. What's your tip on this one?
Lantau Ladies.
I'm going to go Lantau Ladies as well. I'm doing a little bit of research this week.
Yeah, because then also things going on, because we will talk about it later, I think, about the women's tournament. So the national team is flying on Sunday. So I think the main players from the Wasps won't be able to play this game.
Yep, so we need to take that into account as well. 2:30 game out of PKVR Reservoir, the SCC Divas versus the Lionesses. It's now recording on a Thursday. Any word if the game's going to go ahead? The Lionesses going to get a team together? Is it the Lionesses? Yeah, it was the Serendipity Lionesses, right?
Yeah.
We don't know.
Yeah.
So on that basis, I'm going to go with the Divas.
Yes, same as me.
And I'm now going to go scroll and see if I can find is there a Div 2 game in the last game? Let me see.
Yes, I think Diamonds is playing this weekend as well.
Okay. Yes, it is. That's the 11:30 game, the one in between the 2 Div 1 games. In Div 2, the HKCC Diamonds versus the Lama Roses. Now, the Diamonds are the youngsters, right?
Not really youngsters, but all newbies.
New to cricket. That's what I should have said. Yeah, newbies to cricket up against the Lama Roses. I'm going to go the Lama Roses.
Yeah, I would say Lama Roses got much more experience than the Diamonds.
Okay, well, the tip tally was on 5 and 5. We've tipped exactly the same this week, so it's going to be the same next week when we check in. We'll hopefully get you in on the podcast or on the phone next week. Tammy Chu, thanks for joining us. We'll catch you very shortly. Stay on the line. We need to talk to you in Sky Plaza Road.
And now it's time for My Story, where the superstars of cricket come in and tell us their story.
Yes, it's time for My Story, and what could be the shortest My Story we've ever done, with the youngest ever representative on the My Story section. Jay, who we've got?
We've got the young gun Shiv Mathur with us today.
That's fantastic. Shiv, welcome to the 852 podcast.
Thank you. Excited. Happy to be on.
Good man. Shiv, so my first question for you is cursory on the My Story. Can you tell us a bit about your early life, which wasn't so long ago, and how you got into cricket?
Yeah, so I'm 16 years old. I was born in Hong Kong in 2008 and started playing, I guess, around 8, 9 in the Gappers program at the Hong Kong Cricket Club, and introduced by my dad, who loved cricket and who still loves cricket and watches it a lot. And so I've just gone through the ranks from under 11s at HKCC and Gappers all the way through now, last year of under 17s. And going to school here at Hong Kong International School since grade 1. So just been in Hong Kong my whole life, 16 years.
You talk about you got into cricket when you're 8 or 9. Were you playing any cricket before that? I mean, that's not early. Some people go, I was throwing the ball around when I was 5. Were you ever interested in cricket before you went to Gappers?
Yeah, so I remember my dad's 40th birthday, which is probably when I was 4 or 5, and that was here.
Giving away your dad's age here.
Yeah, that was here at KCC, and there's a photo of me hitting a rubber ball with a plastic bat, and that was probably the first cricketing memory that I have. But when I probably started going to Gappers and training was probably when I was 8 or 9 years old, yeah.
So your dad and his influence on you taking an interest to cricket, he used to play cricket, is that?
He played in university, so he grew up in India and then moved here around 20-something years ago.
Okay.
So he played throughout university but never played seriously. But he loves watching and he just loves the game.
I'd be loving to hear that he didn't play seriously. Children. Not saying you're a child, I'm just saying that that's exactly what all children like to talk about their dads.
Yeah. Right, your biggest influence or role model, I mean, outside of your dad getting you interested, who have you sort of modeled your game around or adapted to have modeled your game around?
So for influences here in Hong Kong, obviously, when I was young, Ryan Buckley was a coach, and he was one of my first private coaches. So before he left, before COVID, I did 1-to-1s with him quite a few times. I remember there was one summer during COVID where we did 2 to 3 times a week throughout the whole summer and just worked on my game, and I think he really helped me and shaped me to the batsman I am today, and obviously still growing, but he got me into playing senior cricket when I was 12, 13, Saturday League and Sunday Div 2 at first, and gave me a lot of opportunities there, 12th man in the Premier League side when I was really young. So Ryan Buckley, and then second, Nizakat. He was my private coach at the club when I was really young as well, and as I've grown older, he moved in the club, he was out of the club, and then actually he's just coaching again, so I go there and get a hit with him every week.
Okay.
That's quite a lineup, considering you're only 16. You had Ryan Buckley as a coach, and now the Hong Kong China men's captain as a coach. I mean, that's something you don't get in a lot of countries. You just don't have access to such brilliant coaches when you're so young.
Yeah, actually, when I was younger, when I was probably like 10, 11, 12, playing under 13, Nizakat was also coaching there. So I'd have Gappers, and then I'd have private coaching, and then we have our junior training every Thursday. So it was a lot of cricket growing up.
And you mentioned you go to Hong Kong International School. You've been there since the very beginning of your schooling career.
Yeah.
My understanding is that Hong Kong International School does not have a cricket program, so all your cricket is played.
Well, that's something we talk a lot about, the people that grew up in Hong Kong, which cricket team, and I was at this school and I went to this and I did that. So no.
Yeah, so it's an American school. No cricket. They have every sport in the world except cricket.
You haven't convinced them?
No, they have very few cricketers. Just me, a couple other players from HKCC, and that's it. Me and my brother.
And do you get any recognition at the school for being a young gun and having represented the men's side and as well as under 19 side? Do you get any recognition up there for your cricket prowess?
Yeah, so all my teachers, they know how I'm gone quite a bit of the year when I'm with under 19s and the Asian Games last year. So I have a reputation of being gone and then coming back and redoing all my tests then. And my friends know it as well, so it's pretty well known, and like teachers talk to each other, and all my teachers this year already knew that I played cricket before I even told them. So yeah, you get recognition, people do know, and yeah.
Awesome. That fills in pretty nicely into one of the questions I have lined up for you in terms of your balance. So I have a go often at the youngsters in the KCC setup, like Samad and Will and a couple of the other boys, Charlie and Jaden, who have since left. during exam season, they always seem to be unavailable for cricket. I've, when I was younger, I never, ever, ever, ever missed a game of cricket on account of an exam. So how do you balance this sort of? You are training with the national side. I assume you're training with the under-19 side as well when you guys go on tours, and then you've got your school and exams and tests, etc. How are you balancing this?
It's a very good question, because as a person in high school playing cricket, my whole life is just school and cricket. That's the two things I'm balancing all the time. But recently, or actually since 9th grade, where high school starts for the American system, I've been able to do everything, go on every tour, play every game, been playing plus 70, 80 games, played 100 games one season, I think 2 seasons ago, and still get good success in school. I think I have my SAT this Saturday, actually, and I'm here, and I'll be going to training tomorrow and training with Zaka on Friday. And I remember playing the All-Star Series the week before my AP exams last year, or the same week in May. So it doesn't, and I go on every tour, so it doesn't really affect me as long as I'm getting my work done and I'm doing well in school. And actually, I like coming back after a tour and doing the tests that I missed, because a couple of things, my friends tell me what's on the test.
Nice.
Another, you should be telling everybody that. Carry on.
Another thing is that I have more time to prepare, and I enjoy going on tour. But obviously that it's not going to be like that forever. I'm 16 now, so I'm in junior year. So I have this year and then one more year of school. And for the upcoming tours, there's the Emerging Asia Cup and Challenge League with pre-tours for both. So I've put my name available for the Challenge League and that pre-tour, but unavailable for Oman for selection, because I'll be missing over a month of school for that.
And the SATs are on.
And the SATs are, coming up. So that's probably the first time I've been unavailable for a tour due to school, but I try and make the balance. Obviously education is first, but I love playing cricket. I love training and getting every game in as I can. So
well, this is what I kept getting reminded of it when I was at university with my parents. They were like, "You're a student. Student comes before athlete. Don't forget it." So
apparently, you did, didn't you?
Oh, I passed. So that counts. I got my degree.
On that, is there any pressure, not from school, but from your parents? Do they say if you don't achieve something at school, then you can't do the cricket, or they've never been that kind of mindset, or that you're just good enough at everything that happens and you just ace everything?
No, I think my parents are very supportive with the cricket, as long as I'm putting in the effort and I'm not just ignoring school. Because even how much cricket can I play? I can't be at the club 24 hours a day. I always have.
I think they'd like you to.
I mean, I love it as well. But I'm there a lot. But there's always free time. There's always time to do well in studies. I'm not studying that much. I'm not studying a lot, but enough to get good results. And I think my parents have been quite supportive.
Yeah, good. I think it's pretty key to have a good support structure behind you, right? And people who believe that your direction that you're going is the correct direction.
Yeah.
All right. In terms of your playing experience so far, Shiv, what do you think the biggest difference is between junior levels of cricket, which I believe you absolutely dominate? Every time I listened to a podcast last year, and Buschy spoke about the junior all-stars or under 17, under 19 games, Shiv is always generally top of the run scoring list, and up there with the bowling. I didn't even know you bowled until I went and watched the Crusaders, and I saw you rolling the arm over. So what do you reckon the biggest difference between sort of junior level cricket and the senior level at any level? I mean, this could be at your Premier League club, or even from under 19 Hong Kong to being in the senior level. In terms of the step up, what do you think is the most significant step up that you've needed to make?
I think there's a lot of different levels in Hong Kong, with all the different juniors from under 13s to under 17s. Then there's Saturday League, Sunday League Div 2, Sunday League Div 1, Premier League. I think it's not challenging, but there's definitely a noticeable difference between junior cricket, whether it's under 17 Premier T20 and Premier League Men's T20. Big difference. And I'd probably say when I first came in to senior cricket, the biggest difference I would say is the standards, the fielding standards especially, and also the team vibe and how things work. Because in junior cricket, you show up, you listen to your coach, He'll tell you everything. You have a lot of fun with your friends and you play the game. But in senior cricket, especially at the higher levels in like Premier League, it's a bit more. You have a routine. It's serious. You're having fun. Different types of banter as well. But yeah, fielding was one thing which was a big difference. And I think for batting as a young batsman, you'll get used to it as time goes on. You know, obviously when I was 13 playing Saturday League, like the bowlers were rapid for me. But now playing Saturday League, it's just another game.
Yeah.
So I think there's definitely a difference, but you get used to it as you go on with time.
Now, you talked very little about, just earlier on, your brother.
Yeah.
You're both superstars up the hill. The younger brother, Veer. Is it a friendly rivalry, or you two like constantly like trying to beat each other? How's that working for you two? Because you're both on the track to being both superstars in Hong Kong.
Yeah. I think it's like the perfect thing. I mean, he's a very good player and he's got very good talent as well.
Well, I saw on the weekend that it was you and Veer's job to try to rescue that game, but in the end, you did your best. I mean, it's probably the best of the whole innings, but unfortunately, it went down.
Yeah, that was very fun to bat with him. But yeah, it's a very good thing to have, like just a younger brother. He's 2 years younger. He's already taller than me. He's 6 foot. 2 years younger than me, and he's playing really well in all standards and breaking into Sunday League Div 1 side. So it's very good and good for each other to keep each other in check. Like if one of us is going to training, the other one will come, and as long as one of us is really putting the hard effort in, it really works well for both of us.
Yeah.
So he pushes you on.
Yeah.
All I know is that my son, who plays in the junior program here, he has one statement that he says every year, and he's like, I hate facing Veer, because they're in the same group. She was a bit older, so he didn't have to face you or bowl to you or watch you smash 1,000 runs.
Yeah, so you obviously train quite often then with your brother, I assume, up in the HKCC indoors, and you guys push each other nicely. That's good.
Yeah.
All right, Shiv, your cricket career so far as a 16-year-old, I mean, you've achieved quite a lot already as a 16-year-old. In terms of a most memorable moment so far in your cricketing career, can you pinpoint one or maybe pinpoint a few?
Most memorable moment, that's a good question. I think tours, very memorable. I think obviously Asian Games last year, first men's tour. Luckily I have my Hong Kong passport, so I went on that. That was very memorable for me, getting that experience and learning how to play and go on tour and live with the national men's team, and having a lot of mentors and people I look up to there, and just analyzing the game to a new level with Chris Wilson, our analyst, and just experiencing that was very memorable for me. Playing against Pakistan in that game, batted for a little bit and fielded the whole 20 overs was a great experience that I probably will never forget. Another one would be the Hong Kong A game where I scored 100. The one Buschy was talking about.
Yes, we were talking about that before we went on air.
Yeah.
So, I'm a backstory here. I've been trying to get Shiv on broadcast forever. And, of course, being youngster, I think you're still 15 at that time, or maybe just turned 16. Had to ask your dad, which means I got farms involved and there was messages going everywhere. Got approval. You went out to bat and you just never came back.
Yeah.
I never got you on broadcast.
Yeah, I think that game, they had made like 450 in the first innings, so we had gone out in the second innings just...
Who were you playing against at the time?
The Hong Kong men's team.
Okay.
So it was Hong Kong A versus Hong Kong.
Oh, yes, of course, yeah.
So they'd made like 450. They had smashed our balls around us in the field. So we were all tired, and we went out to bat, and I think Simon had told them to try and keep us under 300, and I was batting with Adit, and we were just like, let's just bat all day. And the wicket was really good, and just...
You did. You did bat all day.
Literally
By the
batted all
time
day.
you came off, you'd scored your century. You were absolutely exhausted. I couldn't get you on broadcast.
Yeah.
It was like 5 overs left anyway.
Yeah.
That was a great knock. Also want to touch on the fact, we'll briefly mention it, but I mean, you're the under-19 captain now. I mean, that's a big nod. You're taking over from Arhan Trivedi. Mm-hmm. You've got plenty of years ahead of you and plenty of seasons coming up. Anything about the under-19s you can tell us?
So that's probably the most important thing on my mind as a cricketer right now, the under-19 setup. I think it's been really good. I was captain of the under-16 in the 2023 East Asia Cup region thing, and that was a really good start with Farms, who's been really good throughout this whole process and very determined. And we had the Under-19 World Cup qualifiers for Asia Region Division 2 back this year in February, and we have qualified for Division 1, which will take place in Nepal next April against Afghanistan, UAE, Oman, Nepal.
That's huge.
Yeah, that's huge. So winner goes into the World Cup, and obviously going into that, we're underdogs, coming up from Division 2, us and Oman, and that's the primary focus. We're really focused on that, training really hard and trying to work to be the best, as much prepared as possible we can be by April.
So on that, you're in the Hong Kong China men's setup as well. Which one takes priority? Your captain is under 19, or is it playing, or do you have to try to balance it?
Yeah, I mean, right now the under 19 takes priority definitely, because we have one dream, that's to make the World Cup. And we're working really hard with farms once again every week, training. We're getting in Hong Kong. The struggle is with facilities and with timings, with a lot of kids being really determined with school and stuff, and having tournaments be during exam periods. But we're really lucky to have farms, and we're lucky to be in such a small space where we can train together every week and have games every weekend.
Yeah, nice. I mean, this leads quite nicely into my next question, because I was going to allude to the fact that you've been named as under 19 captain. In terms of your role as a captain, what unique element are you bringing in terms of Shiv to the squad? Because I know, some captains sort of rule by fear, other guys sort of rule by, you guys manage your own space, you set your own fields, you do what you need to do. I'll back you. What captaincy style how would you describe your captaincy style?
Or are you still learning it as you're going?
Yeah. So I think I've had lucky to have a lot of experience being captain in under 15, under 17 HKCC cricket. And I think what I try and bring into the team as a captain is experience that players like me, Danny, Samad have had in men's cricket and even national team cricket. And we try and bring that in. And as a captain and as Danny vice captain, that's what we try and bring in, experience to some of the players who've had less experience but have the talent. And that was the big focus on the last few tours. But I think what's really good is that our players are getting really experienced. We've been playing 50 over cricket. We were in Sri Lanka recently. We've been in Thailand, in Malaysia a couple of times. So as a captain, I'm just here to kind of lead the players and talk with them, especially with the bowlers, and just kind of be there for them, to know that we're backing them and that we believe that any player in our squad that we name has the chance to win us any game.
All right, you mentioned like a key sort of core group of senior guys in the side, Danny, yourself, Samadhi.
Yeah.
How much are you drawing on them or asking them for opinions, help, assistance, either be it in training or in games?
Yeah, so I think in training we all work together. It's not just me, Saman, Danny. It's not like an official group or something. I just named because Danny's been with the men's in Sri Lanka, so he's got a lot of experience, and he was vice captain in the Division 2. And obviously, Samad at KCC has played a lot of Prem cricket. But I think with them, what I mean by that was that they bring in a very different set of experience that compared to other players that have just been playing junior cricket or Saturday League cricket. So in games, especially when recently I've been keeping quite a bit, and keeping for the under-19 team as a captain has been good because a lot of learnings has happened, and I'm getting more used to managing the role, keeping while being captain. And I think it's really good to have Danny and Samad on the field with me, because when I'm talking to the bowlers and I'm focusing on fields, they can be working on angles, or they can be helping with different small stuff, but that make a big impact on the game. So it's good to have players who have played with me for a long time that I've known, because I've played with Danny since under 11s, or against him since under 11s, and just having a good relationship with them, and also them having a lot of experience helps with the team.
Nice.
Now I want a scoop. I want a little bit of gossip. You're talking about your sitting your SATs. What's the plan for Shiv Mathur going forward? Are you off to university after you finish your exams? Or is there a gap year? Or is it focus on cricket? Or are you going to try to do both or juggle? We know that plenty of players have they get to the end of their high school and they end up in the UK or the US or New Zealand or Australia. Can you give us any tip?
Yeah, very good question. So right now I'm in 11th grade. So I have this year, and I graduate in May or June 2026. I'm obviously, education is the priority, and but I haven't decided where I'm going to go or what I'm going to do yet. Probably looking at either staying in Hong Kong, going to the UK, or going to the US. I know players like Adit, he's gone to the US, Parth Bhagwat, he's in the US, and players going to the UK as well, and other players staying in Hong Kong. So all three are options, but I definitely want to play cricket. I don't want to stop cricket. No matter what, I'll be playing cricket throughout, and that's my goal.
If you do go, there's this theory for players in Hong Kong, because they play all their cricket in Hong Kong.
Mm-hmm.
You've got the advantage of being on these tours, but there's this theory that if you go play in the UK for a while, or go play in Australia, or go play in New Zealand, it's a different experience. You get that in under your belt. Is that play in your mind, or you just focused on the Hong Kong team's games here?
Yeah, so right now the priority is playing for Hong Kong. I mean, I have to give back to Hong Kong cricket for everything. I've played here all my life. I've never played for a team outside of Hong Kong. But like, you never know what could happen. I could move to the US and really like it there, move to the UK, really like it there. But like, my dream would, in a perfect world, would be to go to a really good college, 4 years, come back here, play for Hong Kong, and have a job here. So I love Hong Kong, and I've been here my whole life. So, yeah.
Nice. All right. In terms of your game currently, this is probably my second last question, I reckon. In terms of your current game, is there any specific areas you're working on or focusing on improving?
Yeah. So, start by saying I've been working quite a bit on my keeping recently. I've kept in under 17s and under 15s for the club because there's been less keepers recently coming out of our program. So that's where I just got into it. And I didn't really enjoy it at first, but last couple of months I've been working with farms, obviously with Will, who's our under 19 keeper.
I was about to say, Will Walsh is not going to hear this.
So he had injuries, so that's why.
Yes, that's correct.
That's why I had to take up that role as a keeper. And when we were in Sri Lanka, unfortunately, he hurt his back. So I got about 100 overs or 150 overs keeping there, and that was really good. So now I'm starting to enjoy it quite a bit and keeping in Sunday League and Saturday League.
Do you like captaining from keeping?
Yeah,
you find it a better spot to be?
So I actually, in shorter formats in junior cricket, I liked it. And then going off on tour to the under 16s, I remember I didn't want to keep and be captain. But I think with time it becomes easier. In the Sri Lanka tour, we learned a lot about how, I worked with farms a lot about how to keep, manage angles, manage field sets, and be captain. I think I'm enjoying it, so that's what I like.
And your role in the under 19 side, if you are keeping in terms of batting, because I know often players struggle quite a lot with batting and captaining, i.e. one either affects the other. So if you're now adding keeping to the list of roles in your side, your batting role, does that change at all?
No, I mean, I'm a number 3 batsman for the 19 side, and that's where I hope to stay going into the World Cup qualifiers. And I think captaining never really impacts my batting because captaincy is what I do off the field and on the field, but not when I'm batting. When I'm batting, I'm myself, trying to do the best for the team. And then just keeping is, for me, the same thing as fielding. I really enjoy it and love diving around behind the wicket.
No, so you don't feel like you ever go into your shell when you're batting as a captain. To play a certain game situation or.
Yeah, I think what's helped is being captain at HKCC. I mean, in under 15s and now under 17s and even under 19s for the club. Just that experience, like, you can now differentiate your role. When you're batting for the team. You're not really being a captain. And on the field, you're being a captain. So,
all right.
Yeah.
Good. All right. So I just want to come back to your balancing of cricket and studies. You mentioned university. You've got a few options: staying in Hong Kong, going to the UK, going to the US. In terms of studies, any career focus or?
I think for in terms of a job or career, I'm still very early in what we do is the AP system for the American system. Yeah, so just exploring different courses and seeing what I like. But yeah, there's nothing really that I've chosen yet for a career. My goal is to do the best in school right now, and then obviously when I'm applying next year, really try and choose one. But no matter what I choose, I still want to be playing cricket, and that's the main thing.
Awesome.
Well, we thought it was going to be a short My Story with the youngest ever guest, but it's been a great one. We're just fantastic having Shiv on here, finding out all about how he got there and getting up there to under-19s captain. Shiv Mathur, thank you so much for joining us on the 8 for 52 podcast.
Yeah, thank you so much for your time, Shiv. I really appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you, Jay. Thank you, Buschy.
There's the big bird. Sky Plaza Road returns because we've got some big tours coming up, Jay. We were going to get some guests in, but they were unavailable in the end. So you and I are going to go through everything that's going on. We're going to start with the Hong Kong China men's team who are off to Oman.
Nice. Leaving on the 3rd of October? Is that right?
That would be tomorrow if they are.
No.
Well, let's just say I know when they arrive.
Okay, when?
They're arriving on the 10th.
10th, okay.
I think I heard the word was the 8th that they're leaving.
8th leaving.
Which would possibly allow them, I don't know if would they be allowed to play on the weekend on the 6th if they're flying out? As a general rule? Probably not, right? Maybe?
Maybe.
Personal choice?
Yeah, depends.
We'll find out on Sunday.
Couple of boys need a couple of games, I would imagine.
That's true. So the first one is the triangular T20 tournament between Oman, Afghanistan A and Hong Kong. That's going to be huge.
Yeah, big. Very, very big. Oman, good side. Afghanistan A, I would imagine.
Oman now coming for the Hong Kong Sixers as well.
Yep.
So new friends of Cricket Hong Kong China.
Yep.
So invited across to play in that Tri-Nations. Oman versus Hong Kong on the 12th. And what's the next Hong Kong game?
The start times, Buschy, are they Oman time?
I would expect they are all in Oman time. So that would be, I think it's about 5:30 or something, because they're all 1:30 starts.
Okay.
We'll find out on the 12th and whether it's even being broadcast. I'm assuming it will be. But
I'm sure it will be. Afghanistan A in this.
Yeah.
Surely.
Well, that's the 13th. Afghanistan A versus Hong Kong. So Hong Kong played the first two games. The third game, Oman versus Afghanistan. And then, of course, then whoever is top of the table and second will play in the final on the 15th. That's a bit of a warm-up for the big one.
The ACC Men's T20 Emerging Teams Asia Cup.
Yeah,
Is that right?
That's quite a mouthful, but the teams coming to that are amazing.
Yeah. We've got Bangladesh A, UAE, Oman, Sri Lanka A, Pakistan A, Afghanistan A.
Yeah.
I've got that correct, yeah.
We've got India in there as well. India A is going.
Do they?
Yep, they're in the other pool, though.
Are they in the other pool? Of course.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, so that will be really, really, really good cricket, and we will have a really good look at the Oman side and the Afghanistan side in the triangular series before that. So I think it'll be a really good tune-up for the boys to get to grips and to measure themselves up in terms of how they'll fare in that second Emerging Teams Asia Cup.
Yeah, well, Hong Kong are getting all the day games in that one, no night games. Bangladesh A versus Hong Kong China, Friday 18th of October. Then you've got Sri Lanka A versus Hong Kong China on the 20th. And the third game will be Afghanistan A versus Hong Kong China. So in the process, we avoid Pakistan A and India A, but we do get Sri Lanka A and Afghanistan A, who we already know something about. So that's going to be three massive games as well. So it's 5, possibly 6 huge games between the 12th and the final is on the 27th. So they're going to spend a lot of time in Oman.
So all of those tournaments are happening in Oman?
As far as I'm aware, yeah. They're all in the same spot.
And then I believe they go off to Cape Town on a pre-tour.
Yeah.
Is that
so
right?
we're going to
Straight
get to that one. I believe that's what I heard. The rumour was that they're going down to South Africa and then they go to Uganda.
That's right.
For the Challenge League 50 over things. We'll cover that one a bit more in detail after we get through the Oman tour, but that's a huge amount of games coming up for the Hong Kong China men's team. But it's not the only Hong Kong men's team that's on tour coming up. There's also another team heading to Hangzhou where the Asian Games were held. There's going to be a new tournament up there. It's called the China Cricket League. It's the inaugural China Cricket League.
Nice. And who are the opponents?
No idea.
No clue. Okay.
No, hasn't been named. There's going to be 3 other teams. So there's 4 teams. Hong Kong China is one of them.
Right.
I can say. They are doing a 4-day round-robin tournament. Every team plays each other, and then the finals are first versus second, third versus fourth. They find out who they play when they arrive with a lucky draw.
All right.
And that's pretty much all I know about this one at the moment. Still waiting for more details to flow through. But that one starts October 9 to October 15.
And rumour mill has it they're taking quite a loaded side.
Yes, I may have seen a version of the side, which I still haven't received any approval from Cricket Hong Kong China to release. But it's a very, very strong side. I mean, they've got the strong side going to Oman, but not playing second fiddle. This is a really good lineup. It's not just Hong Kong A. There's people right on the cusp of making it into the men's team. So a good head out. They go to China while the men's team goes over to Oman. Massive amount of cricket going on for the men's side. Also, the women's team are on tour.
Oh, well.
So I'm going to now cross across to Tammy Chu on the phone to find out more about the women's tour that's coming up.
Good on them.
Yes, we cross back to Tammy Chu, who's got the update of the Hong Kong China women's team who are travelling, leaving this weekend as well. Tammy, what's going on?
So it's another year of the East Asia Cup. Apart from the teams which have participated before, this year we also got Mongolia. So there will be 5 teams in total for the East Asia Cup this year. The women's gonna leave this Sunday, as far as I remember, and come back on the 14th. Okay, and then the first game will be on Tuesday, the 8th, versus again Japan.
Okay, that's a good game.
And then, and then the next game Wednesday versus against China.
Oh, that's going to be a tight one. Yep, like that one.
Yeah, and then I think they're playing 3 games in 3 days. So the third game will be on Thursday versus Mongolia.
Okay, we had a big win against them in the Asia Cup. I remember that.
Yeah, and then I think they will take a rest on Friday and then coming back on Saturday and playing against the host, South Korea.
Okay, and is there a final series for this one, or is it just most wins gets the trophy?
No, the final will be on Sunday. So the morning game will be the third place game, and then the afternoon will be the finals.
Okay. Do you have any idea whether this is going to be broadcast on anything that we can watch live from South Korea?
I actually have no idea because Korea have scratched their cricket team for a few years until this year. I think because it's in the Olympics, so that's why they are fighting back and then grabbing a team now.
Yep, fair. Okay, well, I'll try to chase something down and I can put something on the socials. Now, this is the first time that Najib's taken the team as an interim coach. Do you have the players, the team list that's going over to South Korea?
Well, I do have the team list with me, but I'm not sure whether it is officially announced yet, so I can't tell much about it.
Oh.
But I would say we do take some youngsters again.
Okay. Well, I'm going to have to do an update next week. Then this is the same as the China League. I've seen a team, but it hasn't been officially released, so I can't mention who's going. That was for the men's team, and now the women's team. It's also embargoed before. You watched. I'll put this podcast out at midday on Friday, and at 12:05 p.m. The Cricket Hong Kong China social media will have all the team lists of everybody. So stick around, make sure you follow them and find out who's going, because there's a couple of secret ones, it sounds like, from Tammy, and some youngsters going as well. So they got huge games at the East Asia Cup, including Mongolia now. So that's good that there's a 5-team competition. Starting next week, we'll see if we can find it live online. So that joins the men's team and the other men's team on tour. Tammy, thank you for the big update.
You're welcome.
So there you have it, 3 big tours going on throughout October for the men's team with 2 tours, one going to Oman, one going to China, and also the women's team on tour. Wow, what a big Sky Plaza road it's been.
Massive.
Hi, I'm Adi Lee from HKCC and the CHKC Dragons, and you're listening to the 8 for 52 podcast with Buschy.
Yep, time for Challenge League now, and Nitesh Hemlani joining us as always. Nitesh, thanks for being on the podcast.
Thanks for having me.
Okay, let's run through last week's results.
Right. So we called 2 games last week, but we forgot to call a third game that I just found out happened. And it was probably the most exciting game of the weekend. So can we cover that first?
Sure.
HKU Belcher CC versus Little Saiwan Rising Stars. Not to be confused with the PATC Rising Stars.
Nitesh, I don't have the results in front of me, so can I make a tip
Before I call it.
hang
before
on.
you call it?
Yeah, okay. Go on.
first.
So HKU.
And this needs to go on the
Belchers.
tally.
Oh, well, we haven't quite started the tally. We only started the segment very short last week. Was it last week or the first one?
Last week.
Yeah.
But
So,
you can make a call.
Okay, so
you
we've-
two, Buschy. Who do you think won this?
well, I'm looking at the score, so I know who I'm going to pick. Go
So
on.
we've got who?
HKU Belchers
Yeah.
versus the Little Saiwan Rising Stars.
I'm going to go with the Rising Stars.
Good call. They got there in a great game by 1 wicket. So this was played out at the football training center in Chung Kwan O.
Who knew that? Who knew that was a ground?
I did not know that.
They play on a flicks mat on a football pitch with astrograss. Mark Sinclair, those of you who are familiar with him, back when he worked at the football training center, hooked up CHK with a booking, and we continue with that year on year for Challenge League.
Amazing. I used to play under 13 cricket on a flicks mat. It's like a Lego pitch.
It is, and that's
Yeah.
why the scores are quite high.
I think Mark Sinclair was one of the persons that messaged me to tell me I was wrong last week,
Oh,
and
there
I had
you
to
go.
put it in the earlier Aaron's apologies. Go on.
So, thanks to him, we were playing Challenge League matches out there, and Belchers batted first, got 196 for 7. Umesh Kush got 54 of 24 balls with 5 fours and 4 sixes. And it's a good score. You know, the two openers crossed 30. There were 34 extras, lots of lost balls. No one did better than a 6.5 economy. And you think the Belchers were ahead. At one point, the Rising Stars needed 73 runs of, let me just get exactly, 53 balls, I believe it was. They needed 101 of the last 10 overs. And then they needed 79 of 54.
You
And
probably
then-
mentioned it last week. It's 20 over game.
T20 game.
Yeah.
So 79-54, they've got 5 wickets in hand. You think Belchers are going to win this. Then something that is probably a Challenge League record. I can't remember this happening. A 42-run over.
Oh, my goodness.
I called a 34 run over in your game on Sunday. That's the most I've ever called, and 42's just, that's outrageous.
It's unheard of.
No ball 6, 6. No ball 6, 6, 6. No ball dot 1, 4, 4.
I love how they had a free hit and he got a dot on it.
Yeah.
And a 42 run over. Anyway, there we go. That's a-
37 of 48. You think now the Rising Stars at 5 wickets in hand cruise us, but no. They start to panic and collapse a little bit. It was 23 of 42 with 5 wickets in hand. They lose a wicket. Dot balls come together. Another wicket falls. More dot balls. Another wicket. Suddenly they're 8 down. 17 needed of the last 4. That drags out to 6 of the last 2. You get into the penultimate over. They lose another wicket. And then they get a boundary of the last ball, the penultimate over, to win by 1 wicket.
What a game, Buschy. I think you should start calling these.
I think that'd be awesome. It sounds like it's EuroLeague level. I mean, those
Yeah.
are the best videos you see
Yeah.
on YouTube. So, yeah, I mean, if you want to pay for the broadcast, I'm welcome to come down. I'm not doing it for free. Okay, what else games have we got? That one's an exciting one.
You like this little tidbit as well. Your favorite Shihan left arm spinner was
Yeah.
playing in that game. Batted number 3 and bowled 4 overs, 1 for 32.
I love him. I saw him bowling here against the Saracens, actually, this weekend as well. Last weekend.
The
Good young bowler, that one.
For LSW.
for LSW, yeah.
Mm.
The
Not for HKCC.
not for HKU. The other 2 games in Division 1 were a bit more one-sided. We picked, I think both of us picked Atif's Gladiators to get over the Strikers.
Well, I see best performances. CJ Atif.
He led from the front, but his team did not support him. He got 32 opening the batting as captain, took 1 for 19 with the ball, but his team,
He scored 32 and the whole team scored 110.
Yeah.
the next highest was 22 and then 10. And no one else could really back it up. There was 4 wickets in the first innings for Arun of the TCC
That was
Strikers.
my first ever tip in Challenge League, and I'm wrong.
Then you're wrong.
Yeah.
I hope Atif will redeem us later in the season. Niranjan, 2 wickets for 10 runs in his 4 overs, also hit 22 with a bat. No one really top scored for the Strikers, 22, 21, 12, 12, 19 extras. It was a dogfight, but they got over the line with 2 wickets to spare. So well done to the Strikers for picking up a win there in Division 1.
So team effort there by the Strikers.
Proper team effort. And then the other one, which I picked correctly, Indus CC.
Well, I just went on name, and the Caribbean sounded cool.
Yeah.
Do you know why they're called the Caribbeans? They all live in Caribbean coast in Tung Chung.
Ah, there we go.
Oh, see, there's my first fault.
Is the Caribbean coast different to the Gold Coast in Tung Chung?
I think so.
It is.
The Gold Coast isn't in Tung
No,
Chung.
there is a Gold Coast in Tung Chung.
Isn't that Twin One?
That's in there, 2 and 1.
Okay.
We're going around in
Getting my
circles.
tunes wrong.
Anyway, I was expecting a whole lot of West Indian players playing for TCC Caribbeans, and apparently they all live out in Tung Chung in Caribbean Coast. There was my downfall because they got thrashed
Yeah, in the CC, again, no real outstanding performances. 34, 38, 29 of 18 is running through the batting card. Some good scores, but they got 157 for 7 playing out at, I believe it was GDP. No, it was a PKBR Park, the bigger ground.
Where I was this morning.
So that's why 157 was a fairly good score on that ground. And TCC Caribbeans all out for 82 chasing. No one getting past 20 highs for 16. Irfan had a good
Kind of
game.
looks like one of those scores that maybe extras top scored.
And they
Very
did
close.
18.
There you go.
There you go.
Irfan had a good game, 3 for 12 in 4 overs and hit 12 runs of 6 balls, player of the match for Indus CC in that win.
Right, it's time for upcoming fixtures. You haven't missed any this week, have you?
I hope I haven't.
We'll find out next week. No Div 1 games. First one, Div 2. Jay, paying attention, mate.
Yep.
The 6th of October at Cam 10, the USRC Marcors versus the, I'm assuming IC is India Club?
India Club
Panthers.
Out at Compton, the India Club home ground where the Panthers play all their matches.
Well, you see, based on Nitesh's knowledge, I'm going with India Club here.
India Club.
You know that India Club plays at Cam 10 at our ground. That's not like any secret knowledge from Nitesh.
No, but he put extra emphasis on that.
I think the smart bet here would be Panthers, but I'm going to vote with my heart on this one because I play with a lot of the Marcos guys in the KCC Morning League team, so I want to back them to get over the line here against IC Panthers. They won last season at Compton against the Panthers, so I think they can go 2 for 2.
And now he wants to divulge that knowledge.
Marcor is the name of a goat, isn't it?
It is. The 2 Marcos playing in the morning leagues, not connected. One in PKVR Park.
I'm just going on. This is my
there we
knowledge,
go.
right? The national animal of Pakistan.
Yeah.
The Marcor. It's a goat. It's got big curly horns, and it looks cool.
Different to Atiq Iqbal.
Different goat.
Right.
Yeah, he's a GOAT. I'm going with the Marcors because I like the goats. You're going with the India Club, which is the wise decision. Well done, Jay. 6th of October, out at GDB. YTM Cricket District team versus the Serendip Tritons. I'm assuming Serendip's attached to Sri Lanka Club?
Yes, SLCC has new sponsors, hence the men's and women's teams in the Challenge League and Women's League having a sponsor name there.
Yeah, well, we talked about that in the women's wrap with Tammy Chu, how the Serendip didn't actually turn up and had to forfeit. Hopefully the Tritons are going to turn up.
Hopefully. They usually turn up. They're a decent team.
Well, that's good news. What do you think there,
I'm
Joe?
going to go with the Serendip.
It's a lovely name, isn't it?
Yeah. You can't look past that, can you?
Go
With
for it.
financial backing, they surely have to win.
Well, I mean, like I said, I've said it 1,000 times. Whoever's got the credit card at India Club. Oh, no, that's Sri Lanka Club.
Yeah.
Whoever's got a credit card at Sri Lanka Club. We could be the Serendip 8 for 52 podcast.
There we go.
No problem with that. That said, I'm going for YTM.
I'm going for YTM as well. They're very well-managed, well-run outfit. They've been challenging for the championship there and thereabouts last few
What's the
seasons.
YTM stand for again?
Yao Tsim Mong. So they're
well,
actually
yeah,
run by
okay.
the Yao Tsim Mong district
Right,
office,
okay.
our neighborhood. So they call it the cricket district team. They're very specific about the wording of the team name. I remember that.
Making up of Yamate, Simsatun,
Well,
Long
correct.
Yes.
Is that right?
Yes. The
Yeah.
players are some foreign players, as you may call them. They don't all live in the district.
Right.
But most of them do. And they're
Wow.
They play.
Foreign because they're not in YTM.
Yes.
I can
Overseas.
play. I'm in YTM.
Outside district borders.
not. I'm in Kowloon City. I couldn't play.
You're not in the YTM district.
No.
I am in the YTM district, so I'm going to back them.
Yeah, I backed them too. Div 3, 6th of October out at Cam 10. The Lama Vikings versus HKCC Chuanyu.
Yanwo, I think it's called.
Well, that's not what it's spelled. It says Chuanwu in my script.
Well, I backed it at the beginning during my tips. I'm going to back it again. I'll never back HKCC.
Yeah, well,
so
that's right.
I'm backing Lama.
Yeah. Nitesh, what do you got?
But again, it's a hard versus mind team. The smart bet here is Lama Vikings. They've got a lot of new players in during the off-season. They're building a good team. I like the team culture as well around Lama since I play for them on Friday League. But Yanwo, of course, HKCC team, great bunch of guys, great fun to play with.
Hey, any names you can tell us in that team?
There's a few. They're going to have some youngsters playing this season. Tammy Chu potentially lining up for a debut there as well.
Oh,
Straight off a hat-trick.
there you go.
Yeah, so there's a lot of fun characters in that team. So I'm thinking, even though I suspect Lama are going to win that, I want to back Yanwo to get the win.
Okay, it's Lama for me because how can you go past the name Vikings?
There you go.
That's amazing. Is that all our games?
That's all it.
All right, they're all locked in. So coming up this weekend, all on the 6th for the Challenge League. The Marcos versus the Panthers at Cam 10, Serendip Tritons versus YTM at GDB, and the Lama Vikings versus HKCC at Cam 10 as well. Tips are in. We'll find out the results next week. Nitesh Hamlani, thank you for joining us again for the Challenge League.
Thanks, Nitesh.
Thank you.
And now it's time for Buschy's birthday bonanza.
Birthday time, Jay, and 2 birthdays this week. Firstly, Hamid Khan from Pack Premier is turning 26 tomorrow, Thursday, I should say, October 3rd. Hamid Khan, I've been told, is having a bit of a break from cricket at the moment, but hopefully he'll be back playing for Pack soon. And the other birthday on the 4th, which we'll say is Friday, turning 19 years old from USRC Premier, is Soban Mohammed.
Happy birthday, boys. Go well.
Hi, this is Atiq Iqbal from Hong Kong China national team, and you're listening to 852 Broadcast with Buschy.
Jay, that brings us to the end of another brilliant episode of the 8 for 52 podcast. What a big one we had today.
Yeah, Buschy, fantastic evening. We had Shiv on my story.
How good was that?
Very good.
I joked that it was going to be a little short story because he's only 16, but his stories were brilliant. He's just a superstar in the making.
Yeah, really good to get a young perspective of the happenings of Hong Kong cricket and his role in all of it. So it was really awesome.
What are the points on that? I mean, he said he started at 8, right?
That's correct. Yeah.
So literally he's only been playing cricket for half his life.
Yeah.
8 years, and he's already now the under-19 Hong Kong China men's captain.
Yeah. Very. I think very different to a lot of my stories where, most of them picked up a bat when they were 2 or 3 years old.
Yeah, exactly. And he said,
awesome,
he's got that photo down here at KCC. That's probably where it came from. And his old man loves to play cricket. He's a great guy, and their family sounds brilliant, supporting him. Also, massive games of cricket all weekend. We went through that in ins and outs. You got your tips in. Are you confident?
I'm very confident, and hopefully we can get the guest score above the Buschy score.
Nah. I'm going to go. Well, you got a lot of difference this week. I mean, a lot of it is Saturday, and especially Saturday Div 2 I know nothing about.
Yeah, fair enough.
Speaking about things we don't know anything about, we just had the Challenge League section with Nitesh Hamlani, and you knew nothing about that.
No, absolutely nothing.
You learned things.
I did. I learned that they played on a flicks pitch.
You learned that they played in TKO.
Correct. On a football pitch.
Yeah, fantastic.
And they lost 5 balls.
30 teams.
Massive.
Love that the Challenge League is now part of the 8 for 52 podcast, and a huge Sky Plaza, teams flying everywhere, women's team off, the men's team off to Oman, the other men's team off to Hangzhou. How good's that? Yeah, good luck to all of them. Hopefully by the time the men's team get back, we have ODI status back, but I'm sure you'll cover that in other Sky Plaza roads. We certainly will. Good luck to them, and hopefully my little bit of grapevine gossip at the beginning about India being one of the teams coming from Hong Kong Sixers has already been released by the time this podcast comes out. Yep. Otherwise, I'm going to cop some heat. Yeah, you and a few others, I imagine. Yep, but anyway, that's what I've heard. Hopefully India is coming. Oh, well, we might as well wrap it up. It's been a great one down here at Kowloon Cricket Club. It's so great to have Jay, the Namibian Nightmare Davidson, joining us as guest host after being a My Story host. Thanks, Jay. Thanks, Buschy. It's been a pleasure. Right. See ya. Cheers. Hello. Good morning. We're tossing a coin to begin.
The 8 for 52 theme song is The Coin Toss, from the band The Duckworth-Lewis Method. Find them on Apple iTunes and YouTube and download that song and all their other cricket-related music. The 8 for 52 podcast is edited, produced and published by Matt Botfield and Aaron Bush for Trip Ahead Limited. Copyright 2024.
And that's that.